I am just realizing how powerful Atiku is. The former vice president is so powerful that he can place a full government of Tinubu under tension. I mean, a single statement was made by Atiku Abubakar lamenting about the weak policies of this government and has plunged this nation's economy into the comatose state it finds itself currently. Since Atiku made that statement, asking Tinubu's government to borrow his manifesto, that he was willing to give his manifesto to this government on loan to strengthen the economic situation in this country, Tinubu and his government has not rested. They have been running helter-skelter under. There is no grammar they have not used to describe this a simple statement, a harmless statement, and I mean an offer of assistance that was rendered by Atiku Abubakar.
And the lead story there is on, just dive straight into it. The lead story there is Presidency Atiku is undermining Tinubu's government out of envy, among other stories that we have there on the front page. But then, Presidency Atiku is undermining Tinubu's government out of envy. Iyobasa, what do you make of this criticism, this response from the presidency when you talk of envy particularly, because it's understood that in democracy you'll have opposition, and what they do is to keep the government on their toes?
Well, ordinarily, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar should be the major opposition leader in Nigeria today. Because by virtue of his last positions as the presidential candidate of the PDP, he's the leader of the PDP, you know, and PDP today is outside the Labour Party is a major opposition party. But I think what informed Bayo Ononiga's statement has to do with the fact that, you know, in that statement, Atiku said that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is exercising the stolen mandate, and that he won that election, you know. But I thought that since the Apex Court, I'm talking of the Supreme Court, has decided that Tinubu won that election, Atiku, as former vice president, has a responsibility to obey the verdict of the competent court of law, the highest court in our land. And I'm sure it was on the basis of that Bayo Ononiga issued that statement and said this is envy of the position of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that he contested that position 6 times and he failed. But otherwise, I don't see anything wrong with a major opposition leaders, you know, holding the current government's account, you know, putting them on their toes. And when they are not doing well, he can draw attention to that. And the leaders of the Labour Party, I'm talking about Peter Obi, is doing that very well constructively. If you initiate the policies that it doesn't agree with you, it will tell you how they should do it. And so that's whether it is right or wrong, that is the job of a major opposition party. In UK, for example, they also have what they call shadow cabinets, yep, where they monitor the performance of the ruling government, and where they are not doing very well, they call the public attention to it. So that's what Atiku and the Labour Party ought to be doing. But Atiku is going too far by saying that Tinubu is exercising a stolen mandate. For me, I think the president has a responsibility to also react to that, and that's what Bayo Ononiga did yesterday.
Indeed. We wonder if this is the last, because we recall that this back and forth has been on for over a week now, with Atiku initiating the first criticism, the presidency responding, Atiku reacting to that, and now we're getting the response from the presidency. I wonder if Atiku will respond again. But let's move on to the Vanguard front page, where it does have a story about Obi and his ability to become president in 2027. That's according to Tanko Yunusa, who says that we prepare very well. Other stories there: hunger, children scavenge for leftovers at parties, prayer houses. That's very heartbreaking. And it's a rare privilege to be Bayelsa governor, says Duoye Diri. But the big story on the front page: Petro banks loan for imports to hit 3.5 trillion naira. Minimum wage, NLC directs workers in defaulting state to begin strike December 1. This and many more make the front page of the Vanguard. But Dr. Yobasa, I wanted you to speak about this NLC threat. Looming strike December 1, we're just weeks away. Do you think this will happen?
Well, according to the NSA national president, the strike is not across the country. and is asking states where they have refused to implement the 70,000 minimum wage to go on strike as from, is it December?
Yes,
from
December 1.
December 1. For me, that is a very rational decision on the part of the NLC. Because I remember when that law was passed, the president invited all the governors to Abuja,
yes,
and to also brief them the need for them to implement that decision. I'm also aware that the National Security Advisors also reached out to the governors that the non-implementation of that 70,000 minimum wage has a security implication, and advised all the governors to go back and find a way to implement it. And I'm glad that some states have done that.
Even beyond the 70.
Yeah, beyond. Some 75, some 72,
85?
some 85.
I think 85 is the highest we're seeing.
But there are some states who are still very recalcitrant, who believe that they don't have the resources to pay. Maybe why they have resources to waste on other things that we don't need. But I think the decision of the NSC asking the states who refuse to implement that law, to go on strike as on December 1st, for me is a very good decision. And they must find a way to force all those governors to make sure that they pay the money, because the cost of living today is very high, and 70,000 for me.
Even the 85 goes nowhere really.
It's not
and then
something.
The state governors are simply disobeying the law. That is what this is it not? That is what it is.
Yeah.
I guess they know that. All right, let's look at daily trust. You can have executive people in authority disobeying the law. What will the rest of the people do? Daily trust, some stories on the front page. It says, rescue our children, parents of Zamfara students in Cyprus, beg governor. Protest talks, trace demolition of Ruga, Wike invites victims. And then you have ACF urges action as La Kurawa kills 15 in Kebbi. And then cement hits 8,800 as cost of building materials skyrockets. Now, those two stories are quite interesting. That of the building materials and cement. It says building materials have gone up by 100%. Developers are finding it hard. And one wonders, Yobusa, the common man, can he ever dream of getting a house? The government is also finding it easy to build houses which the people need. Then you go down to the security issue. The Lakurawa thing, one really wonders, where is being proactive? Somebody said, in times of peace, prepare for war. Yobosa, you want to address those two?
Very sad. Today, it's not just only the cement. Virtually everything we buy in Nigeria, has gone high.
And keeps on increasing.
Yes, even the essential commodities that we need on a daily basis is very costly today. And this is cement that we're buying for maybe about 2,500 naira almost a year ago. But I think the major problem has to do with the value of our naira and the dollar exchange. So it's a major problem. And until we're able to stabilize our naira, until we're able to stabilize the exchange rate, and I think we'll continue to have this kind of problem. People talk about, since the cement is produced in Nigeria here, how come we can't moderate the price? But the truth of the matter is that the cost of production has gone high. So as a producer, as a manufacturer, and once you are buying things at you are buying your materials at a very high cost, and what you do is to transfer the cost to the buyers, to the consumers. And I think that's exactly what everybody is doing in Nigeria today. Also look at petrol. At the time when the petrol at the global market has reduced, how come it has not reflected in our domestic price here? The truth of the matter is that the value of our naira is affecting virtually everything. So until we're able to stabilize our naira, we'll continue to have this problem.
Let's look at the Punch newspaper this morning. It's quite a paradox, if you ask me. State's debt hits 11.4 trillion naira as federal allocation rise. Dr. Ibosa, how do we explain this? They are getting more from the federal government. Even Bayo Onanuga highlighted it in his rebuttal to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar when he says about 5.4 trillion naira is now being saved from subsidy removal and it's now being reinvested in infrastructure, and more states are getting increased allocation. But the Punch is here reporting that state debt is hitting 11.4 trillion naira, even though the allocation is rising. The question is, how is this happening? But there's also the story on Ondo governorship poll. We are days away. The IG of police has now banned Amotekun, other others, as 15,500 ad hoc staff are deployed. This and many others make the front page of the Punch. Dr. Bosa, where do you want to start? Ondo polls.
Yes.
INEC always says they're prepared, but we've seen an off-cycle election that just happened in Edo State. It has been described by different people as different things. Some praise it, some give it knocks. What will Ondo present to us?
Well, I think the story is anchored on the fact that the IG banned the local vigilante from participating in the election, just like what they did in Edo State. I think that really helped, even though there are some criticisms here and there. But as for Ondo, the security will always tell you that, oh, we are deploying 35,000 police force. The civil defense will tell you that, oh, we are deploying 25,000 of their men. But at the end of the day, you still find this pocket of security challenges on the day of election. Yes, INEC is on trial again, and I think this time around, they need to prove that Nigeria can still rely on the Electoral Commission to do the right thing. They must make sure at the end of the day, the outcome of that election reflects the will of the people. I think Nigeria is not expecting anything short of that. So it is now led for the INEC to do the right thing. And also the security to make sure that they create the enabling environment, clean a level playing field for everybody to participate in that election. So that at the end of the day, what the people want, will be the outcome of that elections. Of course, in Edo State, vote buying was also a major issue, in spite of the fact that the EFCC were deployed to various polling units.
Yes.
But how come the EFCC could not arrest any of them? Well, I'm not aware that the EFCC arrested anybody or they are being tried in court for vote buying on the day of election. But I think this time around, they should make sure that they do the right thing. I'm sure the EFCC will be there, the police will be there. So anybody that make attempt to disrupt that election or to undermine the will of the people must be arrested and the person must be dealt with according to the law. So I think INEC has a responsibility to conduct a free and fair elections, and the security agencies also have a responsibility to create the enabling environment for people to participate in that election. There should not be any intimidations from any party at all in the elections. I think the security should do their work and let the will of the people prevail at the end of the day.
Right, let's look at Guardian. Guardian has delayed 2025-2027 MTF, threatens budget cycle, among other stories. 2027, politicians are already talking about it. Jonathan Obi-Kwankwaso names resound as political jostling intensifies. And stop wicked governors from giving cars, houses to judges. Serap tells Tinubu, let's look at that story, Iyobosa. There's been so much talk about this. Socioeconomic Rights Group is urging the president to stop Nyesom Wike and Nigeria's 36 governors from usurping the authority and responsibilities of the NJC. We know the effect of kickback, bribe, inducements, particularly when it has to do with people who judge on cases that will involve so many things. The impact is huge. And this statement from Serap, what's your sense of it?
Yeah, ordinarily, as a judge, or in line with their ethics, judge, those days hardly attend public functions. They hardly attend parties. And they hardly accept gift from others arm of government. But these days, in the last few months, especially since 1999, when we have this democracy, I think the politicians have made deliberate and sustained attempt to compromise judges across the country. In a situation where you see governors buying Land Cruiser for judges, building houses for them in various states. Recently you saw what Wike did in Abuja, even invited the CJN, to commission lay the foundation for the building of judges for the Federal High Court in Abuja. So in a situation where you have governors doing all this, donate this largesse to the judges, and there is no way they will not also detain what the judges should do. I think that is the worry of so many legal experts. Even the CJN also alluded to that in a recent functions about 2 or 3 days ago, where though he said that many of the judges still maintain their integrity, that it's only few ones that are giving the judiciary a bad name. But I think from the Sarah point of view, I think they should stop accepting this gift. The judiciary also have their own allocations, and it's a first charge allocation. So if they believe that the judges need cars, they need houses, I think they should also put it in their budget and take it to the National Assembly for approval, so that the building of houses, the buying of cars should come directly from the judiciary, not from the other arms of government. They have a responsibility to maintain that integrity. I mean, to prove to the whole world that they are above what they are supposed to be doing, and that they don't take instruction from executive arms of the government. But I agree with Sarah that they should stop accepting gifts. They should stop accepting cars and houses from the executive arms of government. It doesn't portray the three arms of governments of having that separation of power. So
is there any way law can be made to, because that is telling, and that could affect their judgment?
It's not law. It's part of their ethical conduct. It's there. So I think what they need to do is to make sure that they keep functioning aligned with their ethical conduct. One of the legal experts, Professor Udikakalu, also raised that issue some time ago, that the ethical committees of the judiciary should be able to enforce that. So the ethics is there. It's just like our profession. We have our ethical conduct. It's not law. So we are bound to accept that ethical conduct in the course of our practice in journalism. So the judges, the judiciary officers also have their ethical conduct. I think what the judges need to do is to keep to the ethical conduct in discharging their responsibility to the society.
Indeed. So we don't normalize bribe-taking aspects of office. And we also have the NBA and the ANJC, having to carry out their functions. They should carry it out well. But let's stay with The Guardian, Dr. Wagarin, this morning. The 2027 Jonathan Obi Kwankwanso's names resound as political jostling intensifies, even though the Constitution does stipulate when elections should be conducted before the expiration of the tenure of the incumbent. It would be naive to say that politicking for 2027 has not begun at all levels, including governorships and the president. But what do you make of these recurring names? Kwankwanso was in the Southeast, I believe it was Abia State, where he also talked about 2027. So he has made his ambitions known. He's going to run again. But seeing former President Jonathan's name, are you surprised?
Well, I think, politicians, the way they behave, they don't behave the way we behave. So people, like some
how do they behave? How do we behave? I like to know, maybe I don't know.
No, like some of us now, we are just in the second year of this government.
Yeah.
Some of us still believe that it is not time for politics.
No, it is not.
That we should focus on governance now.
Yeah.
If the current government is not doing very well, it is the responsibility of the opposition party to keep on hammering on their ears to do the right thing for the people of Nigeria. But of course, when I say they don't do the right thing, even right from the day Tinubu was sworn as president of Nigeria, people were already eyeing 2027. and that's what we are saying across the country. Kwankwaso is going everywhere. Labour Party leaders, Obi is going everywhere. Visiting so many states, making donations. It's not just for nothing. It is for 2027. So the campaign has started. And the name of Jonathan keep on coming up. There was a report some time ago, and that because of the way the North are not very happy with what the federal government is doing, and they believe that they need to have another person that can from the South, and they can contest against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. And people believe that the only way somebody they can relate with, somebody they can do political deal with, should be President Goodluck Jonathan, former President Goodluck Jonathan. But this is the same person that the North stampeded out of power in 2020.
Well, change is the only thing permanent.
Yeah. So suddenly they just realized that they made a mistake.
And in politics, they say there are no permanent friends.
Yeah, no permanent. So suddenly they just realized that they made a mistake and they need to bring the good man back to power. But I don't think Jonathan will be interested.
Don't forget what the wife said.
He has moved on.
Don't forget what Patient said.
He has moved on, and the global community is giving him tax almost on a daily basis at the level of ECOWAS, Commonwealth, and even UN. Is being given assignments all over the world. So The man is enjoying his holiday from politics. I don't think we'll be interested in that.
And Patience said we're not going back there.
They're not going back.
But she spoke for herself. She said she's not going back.
Oh,
We've not heard from former President Jonathan. She spoke for herself. That she's not going back.
All right, let's go international. Let's look at the daily graphic, and this is Ghana. They're doing wonders. But first of all, National Farmers Day, President announces free tertiary education for cocoa farmers' children. This will motivate them a great deal. But then let's look at the major headline there. It says, new mining firm pours first gold. Ghana was originally known as Gold Coast. The gold mining project of Cardinal CNML Limited is a mining limited, a Chinese large-scale gold mining firm operating in the country, was Saturday inaugurated. The interesting thing is that the open-cast surface gold mine has an initial lifespan of 15 years with a target of 150 million tons of ore, out of which 5 million ounces of gold are expected. And I think I read somewhere here that they have poured out the first gold. This is interesting in Ghana. That will make quite a lot of foreign exchange for that nation, Yobosa.
I agree with you. Don't forget that gold is like oil to, just like we have a major oil in Nigeria. So gold is just like that to Ghana. And they've been able to have a deal with Chinese companies who is exploring that resources for them. And for Ghana, it's going to be a major foreign earning for them. And so it's a good development. And that's why we're also saying that in Nigeria, we have so many natural resources that we are not tapping. We just rely on oil alone. Meanwhile, we have other natural resources that we can. If we don't have the capacity, if we don't have the technical know-how to exploit those resources, there are other people from other parts of the world that we can engage to come to Nigeria and help us, develop those resources. And I think it will end to our earning. Just like what Ghana is doing now. They don't have the technical know-how, but they were able to, they brought in Chinese company to do that for them.
And it's regulated.
It's regulated.
Not the way the Chinese are coming to see
Nigeria involved in the illegal minings, and we don't get to do anything about it. But in Ghana, you can't do that and get away with it.
Let's quickly run through some of the front pages of the international newspapers and then see if you can make a comment on any of them. The Metro, if we have the Metro this morning, reports on Princess of Wales paying tribute to the nation's war dead on her biggest day back to royal duties after receiving cancer treatment. The Telegraph says Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron of France are planning a last-minute effort to try to stop Donald Trump reducing U.S. support for Ukraine. The Guardian UK this morning adds that the two leaders are meeting in Paris for France's Armistice Day service as a show of European solidarity after Trump's re-election. The Daily Mail says Labour is facing a backlash after a minister admitted that a vital military boost might not be delivered within 5 years. The Eye says some Home Office civil servants believe Labour's plans to tackle small boats will have little impact on channel crossings and illegal immigration. The Financial Times this morning reports that the world's largest cryptocurrency, and that's Bitcoin, has hit a new all-time high of more than $80,000 after the traders bet on Donald Trump winning the U.S. election. Those are some of the front pages this morning. Dr. Wangare, very quick take on any of the stories. Europe, UK, about Trump.
Yeah, so I think we should look at that, the historic visit of the UK Prime Minister to France. Of course, the major assignment was to attend the Armistice Day,
yes,
to commemorate the end of the World War I. And so every year, November 11th is marked as a day, to honor the soldiers who participated in that war. And you are aware that about 1.3 million people were killed during that war. So every year, France, commemorate that day to salute the courage of the soldiers who lost their life and the people who were killed. So this year, for a very long time, I think after a very long time, this is the first time the UK Prime Minister is visiting France.
Yes, for the day.
For the day, And we are told that they will also use the opportunity to also himself and Macron will also use the opportunity to also discuss
Trump.
Discuss Trump issues, especially his economic policy. Now that it's very clear that he will be going to power.
Let me bring you on what particularly they're trying to unite to discuss in Daily Telegraph, why it says Sir Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron expected to plot a last-ditch attempt, that's what it is being called, to thwart Donald Trump's efforts to scale back U.S. support for Ukraine. One of the things is that they're believing that before Biden eventually bows out, he will yield to Ukraine to use missile, what they call Firestorm Shadow missiles against Russia. What do you make of that? Because, I mean, he has said he could stop the war, and he has talked about, what do you call him, Volodymyr Zelensky, being a fantastic salesman. He just comes to America and walks away with billions of dollars.
We all knew that with the emergence of Trump policies, I mean, as president, things were going to change. But I think this time around, the UK is more concerned about the economy, especially with the second coming of Donald Trump. Don't forget that they are the single largest, US is the single largest export partner of the UK. So if Donald Trump, for example, increases their tariff as he suggested during this campaign, it means that it's going to compound the economic problem of the UK. So the UK Prime Minister is worrying about that, and I think what he's doing now is just a proactive measure and see how they can mitigate that policies so that the UK will not be a major loser in the economic policies of Donald Trump.
That's what we're going to.
Now they are claiming that Atiku is trying to undermine the government of Tinubu. You notice that Ononuga has not said about this statement, a simple statement made by Atiku, offering help. Ononuga should come down. Ononuga, you have to be coming down. You understand? Because of Atiku now, you can no longer sleep. A single statement that was made by Atiku. I never knew Atiku was this powerful. No wonder he's always grabbing PDP's ticket. He's always throwing under the bridge the likes of Wike, the likes of Tambuwa, and the likes of all who has always restored the PDP primary ticket with him. You always flood them. Atiku, you are powerful. I doff my heart for you. You understand? You get capacity.